welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So in this episode, I'll be discussing the 1987 cult classic supernatural horror and remake sequel, or requel, Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn, or simply Evil Dead 2. As directed once again by Sam Raimi after directing the first movie in the series, 1981's The Evil Dead. As the name might suggest, this is indeed the second movie in the overall Evil Dead franchise and is technically a sequel as confirmed by Raimi himself, but yet is also technically a remake or retelling of the original movie, following and rehashing many of the same plot elements, but yet going out and putting its own groovy band of crazy, outrageous and often totally ludicrous spins on the ideas first presented in the original cult horror classic. Okay, following? This time around we follow Ash Williams, as played by Bruce Campbell, once more looking for a romantic getaway in the country with his girlfriend, Linda, as played by Denise Bixler, and happen across a run-down old shack of a cabin nestled deep inside the woods. Sound familiar? Well, bet you can't guess what happens next. Yep, the hapless Ash once again checks out the audiobook version of the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, and once again, after listening to an eerie incantation, unleashes all manner of evil looking to take his and Linda's souls. But, this time, events don't quite transpire the way that they did the first time around. This time, the demons Ash summons are more ruthless, more cunning, and much more tormenting. In what seems to be a personal onslaught just designed to make Ash suffer in some of the most wild and zaniest ways possible, the demons continue to circle and play their devilish games, certainly putting Ash through the ringer more than once. And he doesn't really fare all that much better with the living either, very much being the butt of the joke through and through, much to the demon's delight. Will, Ash fare any better than he did last time? Will he make it through the night, or will he be dead by dawn? So, firstly, what a brilliantly tangled mess this film is. Beautifully warped and one offbeat, unconventional horror comedy that is as totally entertaining as it is off its head. I've always thought of this, it was a bit kind of a strange choice to kind of remake the first movie when that itself is just as mad, But the two films, for as similar as they are, concentrate very much on different aspects of the demon's torture of their human's victim. The anguish of the characters and how this is played out from a horror and comedic aspect is completely different. The original, for me, is more of a direct horror. Sure, goofy at times, more than once, but certainly with a very eerie and chilling presence. The sequel, very much a comedy through and through. Sure, it has its fair share of chilling moments too, but for me, that isn't what this film provides. This time around, it's a definitely kind of more skewed towards the characters, especially Ash, and the sheer escalation of events that lead to his now iconic look. It's a very self-aware movie. There's a brilliant, strange sense of deja vu, and more than a few kind of Easter eggs thrown in to the original. In terms of continuity, it has been stated that this is regarded by Raimi and co. as being a sequel to the original, but it never really makes a true kind of play to link the two together. Only with some very kind of thin strands, as I say, using a number of Easter eggs and other markers placed throughout the movie. And I think, personally for me, Raimi can correct me if I'm wrong, Campbell too, but I think it's deliberately left open to interpretation. It certainly makes you look for ways to connect the two when you do consider that it is indeed a sequel. It is said that the first half of the film is technically the remake, as Ash and Linda visit the cabin, and that the second half is the sequel, further kind of developing Ash as a character. Now, personally, given the way that the demon loves to kind of taunt Ash, my money's on a loop that Ash has been kind of stuck in since the ending of the original, forever doomed to kind of live in internal torment with the demon, experiencing the terror over and over again at the cabin as the demon finds new and sick and twisted ways to break Ash's soul and spirit. Only, this time around, the loop is broken, causing events to play out differently. I'm sure that's not what they probably intended, but that's the way I like to think it ties in. Anyway, it gives me continuity. The way the movie is kind of set out and the interactions between Ash and the demon, seem to kind of suggest to me that they've been doing this particular dance for quite some time. As a sequel, that's also its own reboot and a remake at the same time, especially so early on in a franchise. I wonder if it was, to be fair, I wonder if it was the first to actually take such a risky yet interesting turn. I can't actually think, do correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't actually think of any other film connected to its own franchise that actually rebooted itself in this manner and actually pulled it off. As horror sequels go, it was a pretty ballsy move, yet one which worked an absolute treat. It has a real no-nonsense approach to setting things up. In fact, much less than the original. There's no real pretext, no real getting to know the characters, just straight into it. Ash is done for, leaving a lot of room for the truly juicy stuff to come. This takes everything Raimi did in terms of presentation, style and theatrics for the first and literally ramps everything up to the max, becoming this kind of fantastically surreal nightmare of paranoia, body horror, and practically every colour of liquid you can imagine coming from every orifice possible, and then some. The special effects are amazing, and some amazing attention to detail has gone into the design, making them just so. Some are completely out there, totally bizarre. It is a wonderful kind of creature feature that's even a bit of stop motion, there's even a bit of stop motion to relish too, that's what I'm going to say. The vision, the imagination that's gone into creating these creatures and the world of demons surrounding Ash is a nightmare in itself. Campbell completely carries this. This is Ash, or at least it is by the end after he's been subjected to all manner of psychological and physical abuse. He is literally a punching bag for pretty much everything and everybody in this movie. Living or dead, it doesn't matter. They all take their own pound of flesh from Ash, taking him to the brink of his sanity, and Campbell plays into this brilliantly. His expressions are boundless, and for every form of torture the demon can concoct, Ash himself takes everything one step further with an even more extreme reaction. And the demon, and indeed the audience, are loving it. There's the kind of unspoken banter between Ash and the demon that is an absolute riot. By the end, both messing with each other as much as the other. Pretty surreal stuff. Once again, expect the unexpected. Raimi literally throws everything he's got at you, and then some. Warping and kind of playing with our expectations as if the film is the demon itself. I'm always kind of blown away by how much this film still manages to throw more surprises my way. Just like it's like it never is the same film twice. I know that's impossible, but creepy. The movie really does feel like it has a complete life of its own. It always completely catches me off guard. This and the original, they really do. Overall, what can I say? This is a movie that's certainly wild, wacky, and executed with an amazing flair for the theatrics, bringing us yet another night of absolutely terrifyingly hilarious torture for its hapless hero, one Ash Williams. It's amazing to see Ash develop into the iconic hero we know and love between being beaten, thrown, squashed, squished, and minced. We even get to see him in all his guises. Shy Ash, naive Ash, evil Ash, and even eventually action hero Ash. You get it all here. Each comes complete with their own groovy action figure and accessories. It has this kind of startling and infectious energy that grabs hold and never lets go. It's simply sustained throughout, and poor old Ash, he bears the brunt of it every time. For as hilarious as it is, it also manages to terrify along the way, being an amazing creature feature mixed with some freakishly grotesque practical special effects and some of horror's truly iconic moments. So, that brings me to the end of this episode. Many thanks for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please do leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, trailer reactions and other movie-related content. Absolutely loved having you at SciFirst Movie Talk. Definitely love to have you back. Most of all, just thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.